Hey folks, welcome to the channel, and in this case talking again about gloves, a topic that I covered a few years ago, but I think it's worth revisiting, especially because I got myself some of these nice fancy mechanics gloves. These would be the, like fast fit models, and they're fine, they're okay. I like them. As you see, I haven't used them really, but they just got me thinking again about the topic of gloves. Does it make sense? When would you want to have gloves? Is it something that should be part of your everyday carry, or at the very least your survival gear? Yes, absolutely. I do cover that in both my books, actually, in Street Survival Skills and Surviving the Economic Collapse. I do list gloves as part of your very much necessary emergency survival equipment. Why? Well, for a number of reasons. If there's anything involving collapsed structures, debris, storms, accidents, anything in which you will actually have to do some physical labor involving using your hands against surfaces that are maybe sharp or maybe tearing away at your skin, you want to have gloves. I mean, gloves are basic things for normal work environments, even if it's not an emergency situation. That's why I have these gloves. These are the ones I actually use and I keep in my toolbox kit thing. and these are okay. This is a good way to get started, which is your basic work gloves, your basic work leather gloves. These are the ones I've always liked the best. I've had cheaper gloves that just were like cotton, or ones that were a little bit more reinforced and had some leather, especially here protecting your hand. But I've always liked the idea of having these ones. These were a little bit of the fancier gloves, all leather, especially if it's supple, soft leather like this. It's nice. You can do whatever it is you need to do, but at the same time keeping your hands safe. And yeah, if I'm doing anything involving, especially using power tools or anything where I might get my hands hurt, I want to have gloves, and these are the ones I keep. Now, these are things that have a certain life, right? As they're not going to be lasting you forever. I mean, you're going to be using them, wearing, tearing them, and they will eventually have holes. This is what's going to be wearing out instead of your skin. So it makes sense that it's not the case. I don't see that you have to worry all that much to breaking them in. I mean, stuff like this, they're pretty soft as it is. So that's nice. You can have these in your kits. They're not really all that expensive. The fit is not perfect, so you don't have that fine dexterity, but you probably don't need it either way. You're just going to be moving stuff or doing something a little bit more of a rough kind of work. So you're fine with these, and they somewhat keep your hands safe. The other thing that I like considering, these would have definitely a place for any odd job or work or gardening, or maybe for gardening, it's been my experience that these get wet pretty fast, especially in summer. And just the way it goes. You're going to be sweating, and if you get these wets, it goes through. It's not waterproof by any means. So, yes, you may want to dry these up, and it's true that being leather, it may get more brittle. These are fine, and these have been with me for a while. I'm not someone doing constant manual labor, so these have been with me for a few years now, probably, and they're still holding on quite nicely. If I'm not doing something that requires gloves, I don't worry with that. So it's not as if I'm using these day in and out or anything like that. But as general gloves, great. They get the job done. There's another option that I like, which are these cut-proof gloves. Now, these are of a more synthetic material, and they have nitrile on the palm, which make them a lot more grabby, a lot more rubbery. So you're going to be having a lot more contact here than in those traditional working leather gloves. And they fit a lot better. At least for my hand, these are large and they fit like a glove, really. Look how even, it's like a second skin that you have. So these, at least for me, have been great in terms of the fit that they have. Again, stuff that is pretty much disposable. The nitrile rubbery thing will wear maybe even more than leather. But on the meantime, you have your hands that are super well protected, maybe even more so from cuts than that stuff. Not the rubber, but the actual material that is cut proof. And these are certified anti-cut sort of gloves. You have a contact for your cell phone. You can use your gloves on your phone, and it's it's skin. The screen will detect whatever you're touching. And I have a lot more fine dexterity with these. So if it's anything involving using, firearms, or I want to have more fine motor skill with this, I will have them. At the same time that I'm able to maybe grab something that is sharp. And this brings into all of this the option of having this as either your bug-out bag or maybe even as your EDC kit. Especially if you're someone that works in security or a police officer, you will see that those guys will usually have cut-proof gloves with them. Why? Because if there's any chance of them getting cuts or maybe a blade being involved, this gives you the option of, maybe I can actually grab that thing. Now, keep in mind, there's always something that will cut through. With enough force, anything will go through a cut-proof glove. But it is true that it will provide a lot more protection than not having them at all. So in terms of self-defense, especially these days where people are quite crazy out there, maybe having something that, hey, I have a minute, I have my bag, I have my EDC kit, these are super compact, put them on, and I have something that allows me to do a few more things, okay? At the same time, if you're moving away broken glass or anything that could get you cut, these are a nice option. I think these are one of the more solid options. It's a little bit more expensive than those guys there, but I think they provide a lot more. Maybe this is more for the work thing. Maybe this is more for the EDC thing. Now, finally, we have our trusty mechanic gloves. Again, I haven't used these really at all, but I can tell you that they are very comfortable. I like that. At the same time, even without using them, I can tell you these will not hold nearly as well as these guys will. Leather or even less so cut-proof gloves, that's not what these are for. They are more comfortable than leather, definitely. So, and these are originally, as far as I know, intended as not tactical gloves, but they were originally for actual mechanics, thus the name. But you have a nice amount of flexibility and comfort with these gloves. So for shooting, for doing that sort of thing, I don't believe this artificial leather will hold nearly as much as real leather does. I think this will get drier a lot faster than the real leather gloves, though, and that's maybe something for wet environments. Maybe that makes more sense. And also the price. These are going for like $15, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, depending on what sale you find. I think that for the price they're okay, but then again, it's the same price as those guys, and these, I think, give me more in terms of the potential use that it can have and how much it's going to be protecting my hand, not only from blades, but from anything sharp, abrasive object that I'm dealing with. I think these are even better. But nothing wrong with these as something that's more of I see these as more of a comfort, lightweight kind of situation where these would maybe be more adequate. And yes, you have different models. Some of them are reinforced. One is like impact, like more tactically looking with plastic pieces protecting and so on. Yeah, just a few options out there. Anyway, that's the way I see it. These are some of the options I think are worth considering and some of the potential applications for all of this stuff. At least the way I go about it in my bags for my family, besides having gloves for each member, I also keep some eye protection for each one in each pack. You just never know. If there's something that may require personal protection, there's a good chance that you want to keep your eyes safe. So grab a few of these and keep them in those bags, in those kits as well. If you want to learn more about all of this stuff, remember they have street survival skills with a ton of very useful information. Surviving the Economic Labs, both available in the links there below in Amazon. I'll also leave links for some of these gloves, whatever it is I find that's available at Amazon at this time. Okay, guys, see you next time. Take care.